I'm Diane Hall with AARP Missouri, and I'd like to welcome you to our second Movement for Life class of 2022. This 8-week class is part of AARP Missouri's Moving It Fitness series and will be led by Tyler Ferguson. Movement for Life is geared toward increasing mobility to help build ability to participate in other fitness activities, as well as everyday tasks. Now, speaking of other fitness activities, you can find many of our previous fitness classes on AARP Missouri's YouTube channel. The Movement for Life class is a class that is suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know your own limitations. Please, please, please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. If you have any concerns at all, please check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offering. AARP Missouri also offers other live classes starting February 3rd, and that's a change in date. We've had to bump that a little bit. We'll have a new Zumba Light class, and we have links to past programs like Bar Roomba, which I'm not sure is technically true. I think Bar Roomba is one of those that has copyright stuff on the music, so it may not be up on our website, but Forever Fit and Yoga with Tyler that you can participate in from recordings, and you can find those links, current, past, and upcoming programs at aarp.org/movingit. Now, all of our programming is created with people age 50 plus in mind, but it's good for anyone of any age, anywhere. And AARP hopes that our fitness classes like Movement for Life will be great options for anyone who may not be able or who may be hesitant to attend a traditional fitness class, like a caregiver or someone who has health reasons or just for the convenience of working out at home. In addition to our online fitness classes, AARP has resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information, and cool technology information on our website at aarp.org/nearyou. And here's our host, Tyler Ferguson. Tyler, get us moving.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm coming to you from the library, so I'm trying to be more quiet than I normally am, so thank you for bearing with me. And I just got my headset working right when you said it was time for me to go. So welcome, everyone. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. I'd like for all of you to come to standing. Just take a moment to look down, see if you can get your toes tracking forward and your feet about hips distance apart. You might even spend a minute just moving back and forth in your feet, allowing yourself to feel pressure on the big toe mounds of your feet and in the heels of your feet. And see if rocking back and forth, you can find a place where you share the weight in the front of the big toe mounds or the heels. When you feel like you've arrived in that spot, just stand there and start to lengthen through the spine. So grow tall from this space. There's an idea of rooting down, so pushing down through the ground as you lift and lengthen through the spine. Maybe there's a little rope at the top of your head pulling you up and you feel yourself grow longer. As the spine gets long and tall, the shoulders relax down away from the ears. And you can find your belly button or navel area and slightly draw that in toward the spine. And spending time feeling your posture, feeling yourself in this upright shape can be beneficial. So take a moment to feel that shape and then start to breathe. See if you can breathe in through your nose. Fill up completely, fill up slowly, and then exhale it all out. Now continue to breathe. But last week we worked on breathing where on the exhale, if you exhaled like you're going to fog up a window, and then did that same exhalation but closed your lips, that's what it's like to exhale through the nose. So let's try that together. Mouth closed, inhale. And your exhale, lips closed. Awesome, everybody. All right, let's talk about activation in the legs. Last week, there's a little bit of confusion about that beach ball or that ball that we are crushing between our legs. So let's take an imaginary ball, place it between our thighs, and without our feet moving at all, they stay right on the ground. Take your beach ball and squish it together. And as the beach ball is squishing in, stand up nice and long and tall, and just notice what muscles, what new muscles that you're using when you have this activation of pushing your legs toward one another. Keep pushing and keep breathing. Keep standing tall, pushing, breathing. And then notice how you've changed the shape in your feet. Are your feet still flat on the ground? And then release this activation of the beach ball. Now, whenever we're doing any standing exercises, you can get more recruitment of muscles just by simply pressing that beach ball together and helping you stand up taller. Here's another trick. Pretend like you have a giant rubber band around the tops of your thighs. Same thing, feet are hips distance apart, stand up nice and tall. Now pull that rubber band apart. So you're going to feel it in the hips, but you can also feel the feet on the ground pulling away. And keep breathing and keep finding that activation. Notice if you have a different set of muscles or some newer muscles that are awakened or turned on with that activation. In fact, let's try this. Keep pulling the ground away. Now take your hips, pull them back behind your knees like you're going to do a squat, but keep pulling and pulling and pulling. And notice how that informs your squat. Press the heels down and stand up tall, root down to rise up. Let's do that 2 more times. Tear the ground apart, pull, pull, pull like you have a rubber band, pull your hips back behind your heels, lower your seat, bend your knees, arms are out for a little counterbalance. Now drive the heels down to stand up tall, send the fronts of your hips forward and squeeze your glutes a little bit when you stand tall. 1 more time, tear the ground apart, pull, hips back behind the heels, lower the seat, bend the knees, arms out in front. Now drive the heels down to stand up tall, front of the hips forward, turn on the glutes. Big inhale in, exhale, let it all go. Good stuff, guys. Let's get started with our toe cam today. Got the toe cam running, so let me just switch gears and we're going to work on our toes. So again, coming to feet hips distance apart. See if you can lift and spread your toes out and then place the toes back down on the ground. 2 more times. Lift up, spread the toes. And then as you place the toes down on the ground, can you see or create or make space between your toes? Final time. Lift and spread the toes. And then keep them lifted this time. And then see if you can just tap your big toes. And if you're not feeling success with this, go ahead and bend down and use your fingers to help you feel this. There's no problem with using your fingers to help your brain feel this. Rest through the toes. Now lift and spread the toes. Take your piggy toes and tap. And you'll notice when I try to tap my piggy toes, my other toes want to follow. That's fine. And then notice where your weight is when you're doing this. Are you rolled in? Are you rolled out? Are you still square in your legs? And then lay the toes back down on the floor. Wiggle through your feet just a little bit. Now, final toe exercise. Lift all 10 toes, spread them out nice and wide, place them down on the ground spread, and then press into the pads and make knuckles. Notice I'm not curling the toes under, I'm pressing into the pads and making knuckles. And notice how you feel the arches of your feet strengthen here. So notice that strength. Let's do that 2 more times. Lift and spread the toes, place them down to the pads, draw them back, make knuckles. Now squeeze your beach ball together as you press the toes down on the ground. Draw the navel to the spine, maybe engage the glutes a little bit. Feel that activation from the strong arch of the foot to the core. 1 final time, lift and spread the toes, place them down on the ground, press in, feel the arch lift, squeeze the beach ball, feel the inner thighs engage, draw navel to spine, stand up tall, and breathe. Awesome work, everybody. Lift and release the toes. Now we're going to do a new one here. It's called rock and roll. So you're just going to roll to the outside edge of one foot and roll to the inside edge. So we're just mobilizing the ankles a little bit here with the feedback of the ground. We'll do it 1 foot at a time, 3 or 4 times, just rocking and rolling. I'm going to switch feet here. Outside edge, inside edge, outside edge, and inside edge. So your distance, your mobility, that's yours to figure out. Now you can stay there with 1 foot, or maybe you want to try 2 feet. Outside edges, inside edges, outside edges, and then just notice. So what I want you to do in this class and all our remaining classes together is move slowly and notice what you feel. Take that into account and release. And don't move into a place of pain. Never move into a place of pain. Now we're going to do our foot fold. So you're going to elevate one heel off the ground and notice when the heel comes up, the big toe mound and piggy toe mound still stays down. You're just going to lift and lower. The knee, if you look down, is going to track right over, there we go, your big toe and your second toe. So just lifting and lowering through the heel on one side. And then next time you do that, pause and then windshield wiper that knee. So roll out to the outside edge and roll to the inside edge. So we're getting a little bit of hip mobility now, in addition to getting the ankle movement. Keep standing tall. Notice if your posture has shrunk down, you've created a crease in your hips. Come to standing stillness on that side, and then we'll just take the other side. So the foot that's remaining stationary, drive down through the ground and still stand tall. Still pretend on one leg. See if you can squeeze the beach ball with that one standing leg. And I'll tell you what, if you have trouble with any yoga, standing, balancing exercises, that's the ticket. It's that standing leg that you squeeze in to help you balance. Now keep your heel lifted and then windshield wiper the knee to get a little hip mobility going and to get a little ankle mobility going. I feel like Bob Ross. This is like Bob Ross meets toe work. I'm channeling him right now if you can't tell. And last little sweep. Bring your heels back down to the ground and then just work your toes as I go to the camera and I come back to regular camera. All right. Great job, everybody. Good work on your toes. Let's go to our full body mobility work. Take the camera down just a second. So stand tall, refine that stance that we had before. Drive down through the heels. Send the fronts of the hips forward. See if you can turn on your glutes a little bit. Your chest is lifted, but you don't have tension here. Just draw the shoulders away from the ears. This posture, this standing, you should be able to do with minimal effort. Drawing navel into spine. Place the hands right at the chest. You're going to take your chin down to your chest, nice and slow. Once the chin comes down to the chest, just pause there and notice where you feel sensation or a little stretch. And then lift your chin up in the air. Dave, help me. And open up through the front of the throat. And then draw the chin down to the chest. Nice and slow. So you want to be able to feel. Open up the front of the throat. Lift the chin up and look up. And final time, draw the chin down to the chest. And lift up the chin, open the front of the throat, eye gazes up. The librarian is here, I'm getting busted. And chin down, look forward. Good work. Now our next cervical spine mobility drill. Take the chin and just rotate. You're just looking over an opposite shoulder. Pause there and breathe. And bring your eye gaze back to center. And take your rotation, look over the other shoulder, pause and breathe. And again, just be mindful about this movement. And rotate the eye gaze back to center. Look over the opposite side. Pause. Just feel, you should never feel any pain. Just a little bit of sensation. And you might notice, come back to center as you move through these rotations. You might be able to go further on one side than the other side. So breathe in. Try to use your breath with this movement. Final time. Rotating over to the left side. And take your gaze back through center, come over to the right side. Keep breathing with your movement and never forcing it, just allowing yourself to feel it. And eye gaze back to center. Good. Final exercise for the cervical spine. This is lateral movement. Take your fists, drive them down to the ground. That'll bring your shoulders down and away from the ears. Stand up nice and tall. Bring your right ear down to your right shoulder. Pause there and just feel that sensation. Good. Now stay right where you are. Stay here. But find your left jaw or left earlobe. Pull that up to the sky and notice how that lengthens your neck and creates a little bit more sensation. And then when you're ready, take an inhale here. Exhale, chin down, bend your knees. Find your left ear to the left shoulder now, opposite side. If you're right ear, right shoulder, that's fine. Just opposite side. Pause there. Now find your jaw, your earlobe. Pull up and away. Feel the sensation as you pull up and away. And then breathe into it. Breathe with it. On your exhale, chin down, switch. We're going to do that 2 more times. Right ear, right shoulder, left jaw pulls up and away. And chin down, switch. Left ear, left shoulder, right earlobe pulls up and away. Breathe in, exhale out and switch. Chin down, switch. And chin down, switch. Final side. And then we'll chin down, switch, and come to the center. Good work. We're going to keep working on the neck, but we're going to do translations now. So keep your hands, or bring your hands back up to the front. We did this one last time. Don't kneel. I'm just going to kneel here so you can see me better. But take your chin, allow it to come forward and down. Now, normally we hang out in this position at the computer. So it's not that we want to learn this position, but we want to feel what it feels like to get out of that position. So pull the chin back, up and in, and feel length in the back of the neck. Strong out of the crown of the head, shoulders down and away from the ears. Let's try that again. Chin goes forward and down, and then pull it up, back, and in. Now pause with me here in this up, back, and in place. Pretend like there's a wall against the back of your head. Press into the wall. And notice how that creates more sensation. Breathe. Final time, chin down or forward. And then pull the chin back, up and in, gliding it forward and back. And release here. Stay standing. I'm going to show you a second one. This one can be challenging. You're going to glide your neck laterally. So I'm going to take my left ear, pull it over to my left shoulder. Did you hear that pop? And then I'm going to glide my right ear over to my right shoulder. So this can be really challenging. And sometimes when you try this, you can't even move. If you are finding that you're having a hard time moving left to right, then you can just pick a 45 degree. So kind of go forward and over and forward and over, if that's better for you. Whichever one you pick, just try these lateral neck translations. Just trying to wake up that movement. If it's new for you, it might be a little bit more challenging to find. And come back to center. Elevate your shoulders up into the ear. And exhale down and away. Shrug the shoulders up into the ears. And exhale, shoulders down and away. Final time, shrug shoulders up into the ears. And exhale down and away. Good job. So we're going to keep working on our shoulders. We're going to do a new one called shoulder screws. Elevate the arms up. Bring your right shoulder up into the ear and down and away. So there's elevation and depression. Elevation and depression. Now let's take it a step further. Elevation, internal rotation. This other arm is out. Look over the other shoulder. Unpack it and bring it down. So that's the movement. And we're getting all of these little connecting tissues of the rotator cuff. Right arm goes elevate, internally rotate, look across at the opposite side, and come out. One more time, elevate, internally rotate, exhale, and look out. and come back. Let's try it on the other side. Left arm, elevation and depression. Elevation and depression. Elevation, internal rotation. So see how my wrist goes down. Then I'm going to take my eye gaze and look over the opposite arm. And then come out. Elevate, internal rotation, look, breathe, notice what you feel, and come out. Last and final time. Elevate, internally rotation, look and reach, and come back to center. Bring your arms down. Shake it out. Good. So we're going to keep working on the shoulders, but we're going to work on our lats, our shoulder pack. So bring your arms out in front. Oh, I'm sorry. Pretend like you have a bar. We did this last week. Now pretend like that's the toughest bar in the world, but you're going to bend it into a horseshoe. And when you fake bent it like you're on stage, can you feel these muscles turn on? These are the muscles we want to use, our lat muscles, okay? So now we're going to elevate and then depress that shoulder, but can you feel that lat muscle? Elevate, depress, feel that lat muscle. This is called chasing shoulders. Elevation, depression. Elevate, depress. Now, as you're chasing your shoulders, can you drive down through the heels? Can you stand up tall with the crown of the head? Can you draw your navel to the spine? And can you turn on your glute muscles a little bit to support that work? Is your weight distributed evenly across your feet? Big toe mound, piggy toe mound, and heel. And are you breathing? Last time. And release. And let that all go. Good work. Okay, we're going to do work on our thoracic spine. This is the spine between the rib cage now. So elevate the arms out to the sides and reach, reach, reach. So notice my hips stay right over my feet and I'm just getting this nice bend in the spine. And breathe. Come back up to center and reach. Come back up to center and reach. And back up to center. Keep breathing with me. Big side bend. And come back up to center. Bring your arms down to the sides. We're going to do this exercise again, but this time cross your hands right over your shoulders if you have any shoulder injuries, or bring your arms up overhead if your shoulders can tolerate that. If they can, I'm going to bend that way. So I'm going to take my right hand, pull my left shoulder. So I'm pulling my rib away from my pelvis, pulling it up and over. Yeah, there you go. So it's a big side bend. So it's a little bit more activation with the arms. Now draw navel to spine and turn on glutes. And come back up to the center and release the arms. Nice. So we do it on the other side. Arms up overhead. This time my left arm is pulling my right elbow. Lift and lengthen. Feel the rib pull away from the pelvis. And big side bend. Draw navel to spine. Keep squeezing the glutes together. And come back up to center. Let's try that again over on the other side. Lift and lengthen. Side bend. Stay with me here. Keep breathing. Now notice I'm looking right at the screen. I'm going to rotate my trunk down and look down over the leg that I'm bent towards, look down towards the ground. So I'm getting a little rotation, rotating back to the screen. I did that pretty quickly. I didn't give you a lot of time. Let's do that again. Let's rotate the trunk down towards the floor. So now we're getting a side bend with a little bit of rotation. And rotate your trunk back. And come back up. We're going to move right over to the other side. So my left hand grabs my right elbow. Lift and lengthen. When we work with the spine, we always want to maintain length in the spine. Good. So we have our side bend here. Keep breathing. Now rotate the trunk down over the left leg. Take a breath. Rotate back up the other. Now, if you have pain in the low back doing this, keep the rotation out. So squeeze glutes, navel the spine. Let's try that again. So just engaging the core can really help if you have any low back discomfort on this type of movement. Squeeze the beach ball maybe, right, in between the other thighs. All different tricks. Come back up to center and release. Squeezing the beach ball, those are all different ways to involve our core muscles. I'll just use this moment to point out that when I talk about your core muscles, giving you cues to engage the glutes as well as the lats, those are all part of the core. It's not just in the belly area. Okay, we're going to work on the thoracic spine one more time. Everybody loves this one. It's called shooting round. Interlace your fingers, find your pointer finger, shoot your fingers forward, and just feel with me. Feel how the back of the body opens up, the shoulder blades spread, and then take your eye gaze, and that just means look right at your thumbs. So your hips are pretty stacked over your heels, and your shoulders are pretty stacked over the hips. Notice I'm not really hinging or moving too much. Now push the fingers forward a little bit more. Keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Keep breathing. Inhale, now separate the hands like you're going in for a big hug. And notice how the heart pulls forward. Now the heart opens up to the front of the room, and the shoulder blades and the back come together. You can look up where the ceiling meets the wall. So look up and open the throat a little bit. Spread your fingers and try to avoid any bend in the elbow. See if you can stretch your biceps out, opening up through the arms. Inhale, shoot and round. Cross the thumbs. Look at the fingers. Maybe go a little bit deeper here. Take a breath or two. Separate the hands. Feel how the shoulder blades come together as you pull the heart forward. Keep the glutes engaged. Keep the belly button engaged here. Good. Looking up, you might feel between the shoulder blades as if you're holding on to a pencil. Draw navel into the spine. Squeeze the beach ball. Use all of those activations. Last time, hands come together. Shoot and round. Moving a little bit more quickly. And separate the hands. Chest expansion. Lift the heart. Lift the eye gaze. Spread fingers. And release and let it go. All right. So we got our neck, our shoulders, our thoracic spine, all working. I just got another shush. So let's go down and think about our hips for a moment. So I want to try this fun breathing exercise. Take your thumbs and just find kind of where your ribs are. It doesn't have to be exact. Put your thumbs on your ribs, then put your pinkies somewhere at the top of your pelvis, that bony part of your pelvis. And then stand up nice and tall and create space between the thumbs and the pinkies. Now take a big inhale and expand. Feel how the ribs move and expand on your inhale. On your exhale, see if you can let the tissues come together, but not the ribs so much. So as you exhale, see if you can keep some expansion in the ribs. Try that 2 more times. Inhale, expand the structure. And then on your exhale, just bring the tissues back in, but keep the ribs expanded. Continue to do that. I like to think of this exercise as how gravity kind of crunches us and makes us small. So this is just our exercise against gravity. All right, keep your measuring sticks right where they are, thumbs and fingers, but take your feet a little bit wide and turn your toes in a little bit. I'm an old soccer player, so that's how we walk with our toes turned in. So thumbs at the rib cage, pinkies at the pelvis. Now we're going to do a hip hinge. And on a hip hinge, this distance should remain the same. So we start by pulling the hips back behind the heels and hinging and flattening the back. And we want to maintain the distance between the thumbs and the pinky fingers. So once you've performed your hip hinge, your eye gaze might be down, your back feels flat, your shoulders are not lower than your hips, they might be even. Keep breathing with me, friends. Now drive through the heels, hinge back up, pull your hips over your heels. Now, the reason we have our fingers here is because if you're just doing a flexion in your spine and you're not hinging at the hips, you'll see how the thumbs and the fingers come together. So if you're feeling the thumbs and the fingers come together, see if you can create that length and then just hinge at the hips. Maintain that length in the back. So we're finding this a second time. If you're feeling it, you can take your measuring sticks off and press your hands together right under your heart in a sphere of tension. That'll help you draw your shoulders away from your ears, draw the navel in, recruit the lats a little bit. And drive through the heels, hinge back up to standing, squeeze the glutes, open up the front of the hips. And exhale, release, and let it go. Great work, guys. So those hip they're an important move. Bring your feet back together. Place your hands on your hips. Now we're going to bend the knees and send the hips back 45 degrees. Back to, I'm kind of at an angle here. It doesn't make sense. We're not going straight back and we're not going straight to the side. It's 45 degrees. So our back is still long here, like that hip hinge that we just practiced. We're not rounding in this one. So pull the heart forward, flatten the back. Drive through the heels, send the hips forward, squeeze the glutes to stand tall, and bring the hips in the other direction. So you might start to feel a little stretch on the outside of the hip or the IT band. Drive through the heels, come forward, and bring them over to the other side again. I've had a couple big pops already. I don't know if you guys are hearing any pops. Sometimes those are just gas bubbles popping. So as long as you're out of pain, it could be a noisy experience. But if you're not feeling any pain, probably okay. Last time. Ooh, there's a big one. Big hips to the backside. Drive through the heels, send the hips forward, squeeze the glutes, lift and lengthen through the spine, and hips come over, opposite side. So we're running a little late on time. The whole time I've been teaching, my husband's been advocating for me in the library. They've been trying to kick me out. So it's been crazy talking to you and hearing that conversation. But I'm going to try to get through all the material today. Let's get into our core work. So if you have a chair or a couch or a coffee table, and you can bring one foot up on that. Now, remember we talked about the opposite leg, how you can still squeeze the beach ball with the opposite leg. So if I bring my right foot up, I can still squeeze the standing leg in towards the midline. So if you ever tried to do, I'm getting off topic, but if you ever try to do tree pose and you wonder how you can keep your foot here, it's because this leg is pressing into the foot. So you can experience it here. Bring your arms out in front and then just take some rotations. So I'm rotating in the direction of the leg that's forward. Drive down through the heel that's on the ground and feel your oblique muscles work as you move into these little rotations. Keep breathing through these. Draw your navel to your spine and see if you can get the work to happen in the core as opposed to using your arms to drive this movement. Can you get the rotation to happen from the core? And release. Find it on the other side. Left leg steps up. Hands come forward again. Driving down through my standing leg. Pulling my standing leg towards the midline. Just going to start to move in some little rotations here. Now my hip bones are tracking mostly forward. I'm trying to create this movement above the hips. We're looking just for about 5 rotations here. But if you can begin to feel your obliques or your core work here, you can always do more of these on your own and release some stuff down. Now we're going to do our step ups. So I want you to think about the idea of drawing in and up and being light. I'm going to pull the right leg up and tap. Use your core to bring your right knee up and come down. Pull it all in. Bring your left leg up and tap. Now you can hold on to a wall while you do this. Pull it all in, right taps. Pull it all in, left leg taps. 2 more times. Right leg taps. Think about being light. Think about the energy of the body moving upward. Think about the tissues moving in towards the spine to facilitate this movement. And release and let go. So one more core exercise for you. Think about where the ribs separate from each other here. So find that space, like in your mind. You don't have to touch it like I am. Find that space, let it flare open, maybe with an inhale, and then bring it together and down towards the pelvis. So it's a subtle movement. So let the ribs flare open, and then use these muscles to bring it together and down a little bit. Tiny movement. Lift, spread the ribs, and then bring them together and in. So you're just getting some core activation up in this area. One more time. Ribs separate. So I'm not arching my back too much. I just let the ribs separate and then bring them together and in. So when I ask you to draw the navel to the spine, you can also begin to draw these ribs together in and down. Okay, let's do our shin box. So for my friends at home that aren't comfortable getting down to the floor, you can do your shin box in a chair and just mimic the exercises in a chair. We're going to start with feathering. One leg stays still, the other leg moves, but we're going to progress the exercise today. So come down to the floor. Take your feet wide. So your feet are wider than your hips. I'm going to give you some time to get down to the floor. I know I got down there pretty quickly. And then with your feet wide, your back, you want your back straight. You don't want to hunch here, have your shoulders in your ears. You want to pull your heart forward, have your back straight. And then from there, keep one leg still. Start to feather the other leg. So notice as I'm feathering and moving this leg, I'm moving into the inside edge of my foot, letting my knee come down. Now, chances are for some of you, this is it. That's your limit. That's fine. Meet yourself where you are today. Don't worry about looking like me. Don't worry about looking like anyone else on the screen. What we're all trying to do together is feel these new sensations, explore these new movements together. And let's finish up on that side. Now we want that one to stay still to keep the pelvis neutral so you can start to play on the other side. And you might find that your other side feels better. In my case, it feels worse. This side says, what are you doing to me? I don't like this movement. So that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for us to be asymmetrical in our bodies. If you think about sides of the body that you sleep on most, or how you are right-handed, and if you're a tennis player or a golf player, or things that you do one-sided in your body, it's probably not a surprise to you that you feel differently on one side than the other. All right, guys, we're going to take shin box and take it a step further. I'll demonstrate in the chair in a minute, but I'm going to be on the ground while I'm here. So I'm going to go back to this right knee. I'm going to drop the right knee, but I'm going to let the left knee fall too. And then you'll notice when the knees fell, I sat up. So that's a pretty big ask. You don't have to touch the ground. You can use your fingertips to support this movement, but start to play into this shape. Yeah. And then to leave the shape and go to the other side, you want to come back into your hands. So get the weight out of your legs. Come back to your start position. And then let them fall in the other direction. Once they fall, you can sit up. I'm going to show that one more time before I show the chair. To exit out of this, lean back. Roll across your bum and your sit bones. Knees come back up to center. Start to drop them down and then sit up. And when you're sitting up, you can kind of play with where your spine feels the best here. Remember, take your awareness inward and feel. When you exit out, lean back. Knees come up to start position, and they come down to the other side. And you can feel it here. Do that one more time. For my people at home in the chair, you can just simply take your feet wide, come right to the edge of your chair, and then work on sitting up with the knees in and out. Lean back, let the knees come over to the other side, and sit up. So hopefully that makes sense, modifying in the chair. And we'll make our way back up to center. We're going to do one more exercise. Let's take our original position, drop it down. Now take your trunk and rotate it. Line up your belly button and your nose with the leg that's forward. Try to sit tall here. Flat back. You're going to bring your belly button. You're going to reach long. Bring your belly button down towards your thigh. Notice I'm not rounding the spine yet. And maybe get a little stretch over that thigh. So you probably feel it in the glute of the knee that you're bending over. For some of you, you might be able to come down to the ground, but most of you probably not, since this is new. And come back up. Hands go back. Shin box. I'm going to rotate my trunk over my new knee. Lengthen through the spine. Pull my belly button and drape over. Only go as low as it feels good to you. If you're in the chair, you're just hinging your trunk over your thigh. And peel yourself back up. Shin box back to the middle. And then take your legs and come over to one side, all the way into your side to get down to your back. Just take 1 minute on your back. If you're in the chair, just stay in your chair and get super comfy. Bring the back of your back to the back of the chair. And maybe close your eyes here. You can soften your breath. Don't worry about the length of your inhales and exhales here. Open up your mouth and move your jaw. Take the tension out of your jaw. Pull the tongue away from your teeth. And just soften. Think about the area where your belly button is. Try to soften there. Soften the front of your hips. Soften your fingers and your toes. And then wiggle your fingers and your toes. I'd love to stay with you here for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, but we got to keep moving. So wiggle fingers and toes. And then bend your knees, bringing your feet down to the bottom of the ground if you're on your back. Allow both knees to fall over to one side, rolling over to the side body. And then whatever hand is on top, push into the ground. Push yourself back up. If you're in the chair, you can remain seated. If you're on the ground, you can stand up and find a seat or just sit here with me. It's a pleasure and an honor to share this practice with you, even in the most trying circumstances. Thank you so much for joining me today, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you next week.